of my favorite subjects to teach is evolution. I do have students, however, that often groan when it comes to, we have to learn about evolution. So I have developed this technique, which is this particular introduction to evolution called truth versus truth. So the first thing that I would like for students to do is to brainstorm what they think of when they think of evolution. So give them about 2 minutes to write down everything, every word that comes to mind without stop. Just keep on going. If you repeat, you repeat. Just keep on going and tell me everything that comes to mind when you think of evolution. So do that now. Put this on pause. Okay, so you have this great long list, and perhaps on your list you have man, apes, chimpanzees, monkeys, cavemen, maybe God, maybe false, maybe evil. There always is some wide variety of things that you put down when you thought of evolution. What I want you to do now is divide your paper into two bits, and one side's going to be called truth with a capital T, and the other side will be called truth with a lowercase t. Each of these truths are indeed true. One of them, though, is all about what you believe. And no one can tell you that that's false because it's something that you believe. The other one is something that we accept. This is scientists. This is what they accept to be truth. And they hesitate to use the word fact. You'll find some scientists who use the word fact, like it is a fact, but most of them hesitate to use fact. And the reason is because we are always developing new technologies. We're always learning new things. We're constantly in the lab. We're constantly in the field figuring stuff out. So we know at 99.9%. Think about Lysol, right? How many germs does it kill? 99.8 or something like that percent of the germs, right? So we never say 100% because there's always that chance. All right? How about on the belief side? How about on that side? How well do you know it? You know it 100%. It's your belief. It's what's true to you. That's why I gave it the capital T. Okay? That's just the way it is. Now, where does your truth come from? Your truth comes from God, no matter what God you want to call it. Now, I heard this fantastic report the other day, and this man was interviewed, and they were saying, why is there so much unrest in the Middle East between the religious sects? But here in Boston, you have all these different religious sects from all these different regions who go to the same mosque, and they're getting along. Some are wearing headscarves or headdresses or traditional dresses, and then others are just in blue jeans and a t-shirt. They're all getting along. They're just praising God. And this man who was interviewed said that the reason why they were all getting along is because America's the greatest country that there ever was. It's a beautiful country because it is one nation under God, and they don't care whose God it is that you're worshiping. It's just God. And so I think that's a part of what I'm looking at here when I say God is your truth. It's whatever God is your truth. That is true. But when it comes to science, thousands of scientists, thousands of labs, thousands of articles are being printed. It is not just God. It is not just a scripture or the scriptures. It's not just, the Bible or the Quran. It is thousands upon thousands of articles that have been generated by these scientists. Now, some of you might not understand the idea of peer review. So let's put this into perspective. If I've conducted an experiment and I have come to my final conclusion, I've written out my report and all my logic and all my evidence is right there in that document, and I send it off to the publishing company, they're not just going to talk to me and say, oh yeah, that's great, I like the way it looks, and accept it. They're going to make copies of it, and they're going to send it off to all of these other scientists who have no idea that it's you who wrote it. And those scientists are going to double check your logic. They're going to make sure that the conclusions that you came to is evident within the evidence that you present. That's your basic peer review policy. And your peers have to agree that that is a logical conclusion in order for it to even get published in the first place. So there's a lot of check and double check. Scientists are very, very skeptical. When you come to the truth with a big T, it's no evidence at all. You don't need any evidence. You just need to have faith. You know, in a biology class, when we're talking about evolution, I'm not challenging your faith. Your faith is there. It's 100%. It's you. It's yours. You believe it. If you have trouble with some of the things that are going to be brought up during the evolution unit, and you feel like your religion is being challenged, you need to consider the fact that all that we're doing when we're teaching evolution is saying, this is what scientists say based on scientific evidence. It requires evidence based on laws that we know have happened before, and that's just the way it works. It has to be testable, and has to be somewhat tangible as well. And all of this evidence directs us to an answer that also is tangible and something that we can test. So what I'm getting at is the answer isn't God. That can't be the answer when it comes to science. Now, when it comes to your belief, and you're looking at the world and you're seeing how marvelous it is, and you're seeing how amazing all these different animals are, and you're looking at slugs, and you're looking at earthworms, and you're looking at grasshoppers, and you're looking at birds, and you're just, wow, look at the differences in all these different animals. And you think, it must have been created. Science can't say that, because you don't prove that God exists. God just does. It doesn't require any evidence. So when we're talking science, you got to be on the truth with a lowercase t. You got to be on that side and stay on that side, because you require evidence. Don't throw your ideas over at the truth side with the big T and say, I can prove that your God doesn't exist, because you can't. Because God exists because we believe it exists. And those of you on the big T side, you can't throw it to the other side and say, God must have done it all and you guys are all full of it, or whatever it is that you're going to say. You can't, because they're not believing in their science. They're accepting their science. It is just the way it is. Okay, so let me give you a little example. I'm holding this thing in my hand and you can't see me, so let me give you some hints. It's not yellow. It's not really easy to peel. It's not mushy. It's not generally put into smoothies. It's not something generally that you would find growing on a tree. It's not something that monkeys prefer. It's not something that goes really well in cornflakes. What is it? Well, the truth is you can't tell me what it is. You can guess. You can guess all day long, but you can't tell me what it is. All you can tell me is what it is not. You cannot prove what something is based on what it is not. Something cannot be because your evidence says it's not. So you have to stick to what you know. The thing that's in my desk, that's in front of me, is not a banana. Right, it's not a banana. What it is grapes. Okay, it is grapes. So this is something that you have to consider as you enter into the study of evolution. That we are in no way saying that your God exists or doesn't exist or anything about that. We're not on that side of the fence. We're on the lowercase t side of the fence. We're taking the evidence that we have, and we are coming to the conclusion that we can, based on that evidence, with something that we can see, that is tangible, that is testable, that's a part of the laws that we know. That's just how science works. So as we proceed through the unit, and you're going, this is not something that I can believe in. Remember, that word is on the religious side. That's on the big T side. Scientists don't quote unquote believe, scientists accept. So what your job is to accept that scientists accept this evidence. Your job is to say, when I ask a question on an exam, to say what scientists think, what scientists have concluded, not what your pastor has said or what your bishop has said or whatever it happens to be or what you think it is. The answer is not God, because God is on the other side of the fence and we're working on this side of the fence with the science. And in no way, shape, or form is evolution challenging that other side of the fence. It is separate, and we keep it separate. And we keep that idea in mind, that you can't prove what something is based on what it is not. So there's no challenge here, and just keep that in mind. We're looking at that is what scientists accept. And that is how we start our evolution unit.